Whew. Let's let some people tune in. This is going to be a quick one because what to say. Comment, get all your feelings out. This is where we need to... I don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about. That was fucking typical. Absolutely typical of the club that we follow. When we think that we're turning a corner. Classic Saints, exactly right. Round one all over again. We should be 5-1, guys. This is round one. We get 30 points up against North. We fucking blow it. And against Fremantle, we've got them done. It's 44-8. We were 36 points up, and they had 2 players down on the bench. And I watched the game on Thursday night, Geelong and Brisbane. The exact same thing happened, and Geelong overran a Brisbane team that had 2 players advantage and had a big lead. We had a big lead. I looked at our percentage. We were 2 percentage points off top 2. What the hell are these players doing? Do they know where they can go? Do they believe that they can do that? They don't want to be a top team. The way they're playing, they don't think they can be a top team. They think it's just going to come easy. They need to grind it. What I hated was that we got it on a roll and we looked as good as we've ever looked. And from that point on, we kicked 1 goal until midway through the 4th quarter when we decided this is going to be, oh shit, we need to pull our fingers out here. You know, that's when they suddenly started to care. What the hell were they doing from midway through the 1st quarter all the way to midway through the last quarter? What the hell was this team doing? Because we've had 9 days off. There was no injury concerns. We got Zach Jones back. We started on fire. We had Fremantle, 2 players down on the bench, including their ruckman Darcy, who was actually their best player at the time. They literally have no forward line. They have Fife they're resting, and he kicked 2 goals, and somehow with his 10 possessions won them the game. They couldn't afford to put their best midfielder in midfield because they needed him in the goal square because they had to put I forgot their forward from GWS, I forgot his name, Logue or whatever his name is, but they put him in the ruck because they missed their ruck. They were all over the shop. And then their youngsters are kicking goals. They're running around us like we're witches' hats. We just stopped. And we did that in the 3rd quarter against Carlton. We did that in the 2nd half against North. And now we've done that for pretty much 75% of the game. Now, we could have been 4-2. We could have secured a top 4 spot for the rest of the round. And now we've blown it. And we've got Adelaide on Monday. So it's now going to be another 9 days off that we're going to have to mull over this and try to be positive. But the way they did, that must have been all mental. There was no physical fragility in this team. They're a fit team. They've had a decent break. And I know some people are going to comment and say, well, Jake, you know, they're in Noosa. They needed to take 2.5 hours by bus that morning to get there. And that would have thrown them off. Bullshit, that throws them off. It's a 2.5 hour bus trip. They're just sitting there. They're professional footballers that have had 9 days off. They're in Noosa on their own. And, you know, they've got the best facilities there. There's absolutely no... there's no reason why they should have put in this performance. And it's ruined my weekend. I'm going to put it out there. It's ruined my weekend. It's going to ruin my week. And I'm going to try and be positive as much as I can. The positive was the 1st quarter was phenomenal. Take it easy there, Oliver. Take it easy. 1st quarter was great. And we looked what we can do when we take the game on. When we can run. When we can handle. When we can link up. And when we do that, we're one of the best teams in the competition. And our scoring efficiency was amazing in the first term. You know, I think we had at least 12, 13, 14 inside 50s. We kicked 7 goals too, and we thought, here we go. From that point on, we slowed down. Fremantle are a very chip, stop-start team, and we succumbed into that. You know, we got sucked into playing that game plan where we were too casual about it. We were too relaxed. We thought the game was done. We got complacent, and I would have thought that after round 1, you know, we we would have learnt our lesson, but we haven't. And I know that with Ratton and with new players, there's going to be highs and lows when it comes to this team. We're going to see great performances. We're going to see terrible performances. But when there's a game, for the taking, there's 4 points basically there, and we fall asleep, there's got to be a lot of questions asked. You look at the disposals. Let's go from bottom to top. Jonathan Marsh had 3 disposals. Dan Butler had 6. Dean Kent had 7. Max King had 7. Jack Laney had 9. Rowan Marshall had 9 disposals when the opposition's ruckman was injured for the rest of the game. That's where he needs to be like, okay, I'm the main man now. Their ruckman's gone. I need to dominate. Maybe these are the sort of games where Paddy Ryder needs to play. Rowan Marshall, 9 disposals, not good enough. I don't know how. He had 29 hit-outs for 9 disposals. That's not good enough. You've got Jaron Geary on 11. You've got Brad Hill against his old team on 11 disposals. The most embarrassing thing about that is I'm pretty sure Blake Acres had more disposals against his old team than Brad Hill did. And I know for a fact that Blake Acres is not on 800,000 a week. 800,000 a year, sorry. Tim Membry, he was one of the rare players that could say that he did the job. He kicked 3 goals. He stuffed it at the end, then missed one. But he kicked 3 goals. He stood up. Nick Caulfield. Seb Ross, 12 disposals. 12 disposals for a player we consider one of our best and in our vice captain. That's not good enough. If that was any other player, they would be dropped next week. If anything, that's the sort of performance that gets a mature player, an experienced player dropped, and you bring in someone like Ryan Burns, who is going to give it his all because it's his first game. He wants to stand out and make a place for himself in this team. Then you've got, when you go up slowly, you've got, Zach Jones back, 15, he kicked 2 goals. Gresham was one of his best games for the year, 17. Billings, 18. Hunter Clark, 18. Cal Wilkie, 18. Only Jack Steele had 20 or more disposals in this game. Only Jack Steele. So that means there is too much left to too few. And when a team like Fremantle get a run on like that, you need a collective response. You can't have 1 or 2 players stand up. When Fremantle had the first quarter that they did, they all stood up and they all followed each other. There wasn't one player. There wasn't Fife that swung the game in their way. It was the youngsters, and our players just didn't do anything. It's the sort of games like today where the pressure was so high on us that it looked like we couldn't handle it, and we're so used to giving it to teams, but when we get it, we couldn't take it. Even Cal Wilkie, who's a player that I absolutely love, and he rarely makes a wrong decision. Even he was just handballing. There were times where we had the ball, we just needed to hold it in just to maintain possession, slow the game down, and we'd handball it out. We just panic and handball it out, and Fremantle would be on the outside. And there was so many instances where, and I think it was this in the second term when they kicked a couple in a row where, geez, I'm going to take a deep breath here, but there was Jake Carlisle behind the pack manning a player, and he goes up when there's about 4 Saints that go up for the same ball. He goes up as well, 4 men deep. He's not going to get near it to impact the play. He misses it. It goes out the back. His opponent, gets the ball and runs into an open goal. And that's all we did all day. There was too many of us looking at the ball. And what we've been so good at all season is that there's a couple that go in. They know they can win the ball. We trust the player to win the ball, and then we can get it out to the players waiting on the outside. But in this game, no one was waiting on the outside. Everyone was going in, but we still weren't winning the ball. We had numbers of the ball. We still weren't winning it. So when Freo won it, we were all in. They had players out, quick handball out. They expose us, and then that was it. They ran all over us. So that's pretty much what happened. We blew an absolute massive lead. People are tagging Nuffies here, so I don't feel like I'm being unfair to the team. This is not an overreaction. This is a terrible performance in an important game, and we knew that losing today would negate all the good work done in the last 2 weeks, beating Richmond and beating Carlton. And you can't tell me you don't feel the same. Tell me that losing today doesn't affect your thoughts on how we've played in the last 2 weeks. It does to me, because it means that we haven't learned. We haven't learned our lesson from North, from Collingwood, we've just done the exact same thing. We're just repeating ourselves. Anyway, let's go to some of these comments. I'm going to scroll to the top. Enough of me ranting. Let's get to some of the... There's a comment there saying that we played like we did when we were with Alan Richardson. We just stopped running. You know, we bombed it. We started bombing it. We tried to take shortcuts. We didn't want to work for our goals. And the first quarter we worked. We worked a million times harder than Fremantle were willing to work, and it exposed them because we had players running everywhere. From that point on, it has to be complacency. I know Fremantle lifted, and I'll give them credit. They got better as the game went on, and they responded to the challenge, and we didn't. But there is got to be a correlation between them improving and us dropping, because if we maintain that same mentality and intensity from the first quarter for the rest of the game, and Fremantle improve, yes, the game would be a good one, but we would not have given those 4 points up as easily as we did. There's no way we would have. Let's keep going. Let's fucking lay into them, Jake, says Darren. Well, someone has to. I know the club's going to come out and say they were disappointed, and that's the whole point of this channel, is that I want to get on here and I'll say that's bullshit. That was not good enough. When are we going to draw a line and say we do not want to put in these performances ever again? You know, when does that happen? If we... You know, I don't know how Adelaide are going right now against West Coast, but now we've got 9 days. We're going to play Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, where we never win, and they're going to have fans. And if they put in a good performance against West Coast, they're only going to be a couple of wins behind us, and they're going to think they're a chance. And now Fremantle are only 1 win behind us. West Coast winning today will be level with us. We've lost a chance of securing a top 3 position. We need to care about that, because if we want to be a finals team, these are the games we need to win. We can't go beating the Richmonds of the world and then losing to the Fremantles. You know, you got to win all the games that come our way. And I'm happy to say that we lost it to a better team, and we tried, but we didn't try for 75% of that game. That hurt so much, says Radley. How disappointing, says Felicity. Fucking shit, says Kyle. Kyle says Sebros is absolutely shocking. We need to move him on. Butchers the footy every single time. And Brad Hill, 3 disposals after quarter time. When the heat was put on, a lot of our top players disappeared. We're great. I don't want to say we're downhill skiers, but we're great when the ball's rolling our way, and then we're shit when the heat's on. And we need players that can handle the heat. You know, we can't enjoy just beating up on teams when they're playing shit. When teams are coming at us, we need to respond to that, and we didn't respond to that. And a lot of teams now are going to look at the way Fremantle played and say, play that slow contested game and put pressure on St Kilda's good ball users, because under pressure they're going to break down. And that's exactly what happened. Where the fuck do you start on such a poor performance, says Andrew? Just from the top, I suppose. Chat says, I'm so heartbroken after today's loss. Too little too late, says James. Midfield at fault. Fumble after fumble. I'm changing clubs, says Jai. Good to see Pat not knowing what to do with the ball as per usual. I wouldn't beat into someone like Pat, and I thought that, you know, he was one of many that just didn't know what the hell to do when they got the ball, which was so surprising, because we seem to have a second nature lately of knowing where players are and teammates are. You know, we don't even need to look and we know. But after quarter time, we literally got the ball and was just, you know, where do I give it to you? Do I give it to you? I don't know. I'm just going to hack it forward. We just panicked. Lyle says abysmal, feeble, spineless and woeful after quarter time. Saints reserves to play next week, says James. What the hell happened, says asking Toby. A lot of passengers, senior players too. I feel your pain, Jake. What the hell happens, said Kerry. What did I just watch? From Alan. Trevor says the bus ride played like a team who got up at 6 a.m. God, I don't want to blame a bus trip. You know, I don't want to blame a bus trip. It's 2.5 hours. If they can't handle that, like some teams have flown up a couple of hours. Essendon and North did it this year. They've flown up the same day, won the game and flew back the same day. There's no excuse there. It's a bus trip. They're professionals. They would have known they were doing it a week ago. They would have prepped for it, had an early night and had a rest, and no excuse there. You know, that's, if anything, 2-hour bus trip with Ratton, they should be revving themselves up, talking about game plans and making sure that they're ready when they get off the bus. Clearly they were just doing nothing in the morning and just very lackadaisical and, you know, played a good first term and thought the game was done. Connor says, genuinely, mate, these blokes get paid F-loads or fuckloads to play one good quarter and we bring that out, you'd think we fucking tanked. Effing pathetic, same old Saints, season over, good teams don't like that. Hill was too busy trying to upstage Walters. So incredibly disappointed, says Meg. Kyle, Sebros is absolutely shocking. We need to move... he's already said that. Too many watching and not getting the hard ball. Exactly right. Too many just watching. Scoreline flatters us. Our behinds absolutely ruined us. So disappointing. Hard to take us seriously when we perform like that. It is. I thought we were past it. I'm talking, it's great talking to, in the lead up to this, a lot of friends that follow other teams. I've got a friend that follows Brisbane, that follows Geelong. Two good teams. They're both saying St Kilda on the up. And then you see... you feel like when they watch us playing like today, they're like, actually, I got that wrong. They're not as good as I thought they were, and that's the worst thing. And I don't want all our fans to start second guessing us because we've had some good wins this year. We've improved, but when you see performances like this, you're like, how much have we improved? This is a mental shock. We mentally checked out of this game after quarter time. They literally kill me every time I get some hope. Peter says, I respect the show, but today I've had a gut full of the Saints. This is what we donate our memberships for. Real disappointing. I'm done with them. We'll get smashed by Crows in Adelaide. Oh, jeez, I hope not. Every year, bro. So depressing to watch that rubbish. Saints footy. Jeez, there's a lot of... it's heartbreaking. Get on the beers, Jake. That's what I'm doing. That's not a bad shout. I've got a nice bottle of wine in the fridge. I might pop that out and have a nice few glasses and not watch the replay, which is, half the fun of the weekend is you have a good win and then you get to watch the replay and the highlights and read about all the online comments from fellow Sainers and even opposition supporters saying how good we were, and then you go and serve that one out. And we continued on from the third term against Carlton. We got out of jail against Carlton, but we couldn't do it again against Fremantle, and we levelled it. And then, that made it even worse for me, is that we were so good, blew it, then we put it on for 5 minutes, kicked 3 goals quickly, level the scores and look like, okay, here we go. And then literally let them go down the other end and they kick a match-winning goal, and that makes it worse. That's classic Saints. There's the high, there's the low, there's the hope, and there's the crash landing after that. All our leaders did not step up. Some players are outside players. I know that. I prefer inside players. Billings is an outside player, but he goes when it is his turn to go. Hill does not go when it's his turn to go. Is there one example of him even touching another player today? Very good question. Brad Hill happy to take his $800K a year and not put his body on the line. Stopped running at the start of the second quarter. Classic Saints game, says Paddy, gives us hope of putting away a team, lose all that hope, regain the hope, then manage to lose it all again. Great, we are equal score now. Don't give it to Geary. Yeah, geez, that bomb, when he had the chance to really hit a target, I'm not going to say it cost us the win, but geez, he just saw one way and he just wanted to bomb it. We had 3 minutes on the clock or 2 minutes on the clock or whatever it was. There was time to still calm yourself, and that's what we didn't do. This year, we're a team where we get it on the edge of the 50, 60-metre arc and we chip it and we hit our targets. Today, we literally just bombed it. We turned into exactly what Brisbane did on Thursday night. Brisbane were great in the first term. Geelong go 2 players down, and then that team somehow regains the lead and runs away with the game. And that's exactly what happened today. Brad Hill should find some form to justify his salary. Geez, a lot of comments about Brad Hill today, so that's going to be an interesting topic for the podcast next week. All you delusional fans thinking these next 2 games would be easy, wouldn't be surprised if we lose to Adelaide. You haven't been good for years. You are all terrible and hype this team up for no reason. Clearly from a non-Saint there. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Clearly got nothing better to do. Tell us what you really think, though, says Corey. I'll let you rant for me. My heart breaks, says D. Bullshit, we were 6 goals up, so it obviously didn't matter. You should be a coach, says Corey. Embarrassed, pathetic. Prima donnas, did we not learn anything from the North Melbourne debacle? Seriously, 36-point lead should not be surrendered. I agree with that from David. Should not be surrendered in any sort of form of AFL, but when the quarters are that much shorter, you shouldn't... We were 44 points at quarter time. We finished on 73. We should have finished on over 100 points. And even if you don't, 36-point lead in any part of a game when it's 15-minute, 16-minute quarters the job should be done, guys. We need to learn that, okay, if we're not playing our best, let's get possession, slow the ball down, regain possession, and make sure that the opposition doesn't have the ball. But what we did was, even when we were trying to, even when we were playing poor in the second and third and fourth terms, we still tried to play fast, which meant fast equals more mistakes. We had made a lot of clangers, and that means turning the ball over and players out of position. Fremantle go down the other end and kick easy goals. And that's exactly what we did. We need to have a player that says, okay, guys, we're not playing our best. Let's slow it down. Let's just put some tempo here. There was not one part of the game where we said, okay, let's play tempo football, hold possession, and slow the momentum down. Take the momentum out of Fremantle's game, because that's what they did to us. They held possession, they kept the ball out of our hands, and they know that when we don't have the ball, we can't hurt you. So we need to learn to do something like that. We need to have a plan B, plan C when that happens. But it looked like for the whole game, and I'm going to put this a bit on Brett Ratton, is that we did not try to change any part of the game. We hoped that the tables would just turn naturally, and they didn't. Brett Ratton, I hate to say it, but I think he might have been out-coached after quarter time from Justin Longmuir, whatever you call his name. Just heading to the bottle, says Tyson. No Butler, no Saints. They shut him down and we lost the plot, says Liam. Positive King had 5 scoring shots, I know, but he missed a couple of easy ones. He could have had a bag. Up the D's, says Oliver. No one wants to lead from the front and do the little things, all just massive front runners. Can't handle it when teams start to get on top of us. Useless Seb Ross is a joke. That's from Daniel. Not looking forward to playing Adelaide, says Geordie. Jeez, there's a lot of... God, I hate having losses like this. I hate talking about all these negatives, but that's the whole point, is that we're not always going to be winning, and when shit hits the fan, we're going to be talking about it. Let's keep going. Crows will win with that performance. Whew. Marshall was poor. Marsh, not the worst. Let's look at Robertson and Bytel. It's interesting. There's going to be a few changes today. I'm curious if you guys want to comment. Based on today's performance, who gets dropped, who comes in, let me know. Craig says, we hear about this new culture and new era, but after 57 years of being a St Kilda supporter, it all feels the same as usual. In the dictionary, it should say the meaning of St Kilda is disappointment. That is a hard truth. I hate hearing stuff like that, but you can't argue with that. We talk about culture changes, everyone's positive, there's a different mentality, and then already 2 games out of 6 this year, we've had 5-goal leads and we've lost both. And we nearly did it against Carlton, so there could have been 3 games there where we've had a 5+ goal lead. I think we've had a 5-goal lead in every single game except the Collingwood game this year, and we've only won 3 of them. That is disgraceful. We need to be 5-1. We should be top 2 right now. And that's not me in dreamland. That's a fact. We've been 5 goals up in 2 games that we've lost. There's a lot of enjoyment for some Oliver guy here. Steele with 2 tackles. Jesus. 2 tackles for Steele. If Steele's not laying tackles in a game, that means you're in trouble because no one else follows. We need someone that leads from the front when shits hit the fan. Lacked serious run after quarter time. Moved the ball quickly. We didn't do either of those. Tareen says the only coach they need to get to coach this team would be the G-Train. A lot of love for the G-Train for some reason. Gresham's miss at the start of the second was the turning point. Geez, that was a bad miss. And that's something that I've talked about. And that was one of his better games for us this year because he actually hit some targets. He hit a few goal assists. He got a lot of the ball. He got a lot of free kicks getting in first, which was great. But that miss, that ball drop, I don't know what's happened to Gresham's ball drop, but it's completely changed. We need to get Jared Ruffhead to get Gresham and help him out because that is a terrible ball drop. And what did we kick for the day? We kicked 11-7. So our misses weren't bad, but after quarter time, we kicked 4 goals, 5 to 11 goals. 4 goals, 5 to 11 goals. Terrible. Is Ratton telling them to slow the game down when we get ahead on the scoreboard? It sure does feel like it. I'm going to be very interested to see what Rats justifies after that quarter time huddle, what the tactic was. There is no need to slow down the game when you're 36 points up and you're flying. You keep playing the same way. There's no reason that we should have stopped. But I'm going to be very interested to hear what his words were at quarter time, whether it was to keep doing what we're doing, if he wanted to try something different. But we've learned that we're not reliable when we have a lead. So the best form of defense for us is attack. So if we've gone into our shells, if he said go into your shells and just slow down the game, then that's essentially cost us the game. You know, we need to just learn. Sorry guys, classic internet cutout, so I've got to restart the video. Look, I think we've all ranted, we've all kind of just let out a bit of steam here. Again, yeah, Brandon's just pointed out that we're flat track bullies at Marvel. Clearly we've had two games away from Marvel this season. And it's been our two worst performing games against teams that we probably should have beaten, against North and Fremantle. I'm going to try and not let the emotion take hold now, but we need to respond against Adelaide in 9 days' time. We need to respond. I said leading up to this game that there was no excuse in losing, and that was true at the start of the game. It was even more evident at quarter time. There was no excuse. Could have lived with letting Fremantle back into the game and just dropping the point and just winning ugly after that. But the fact that we not only dropped our heads after quarter time, but we let them get a run on, and we just still can't seem to find a way to stop teams from getting a run on, was the most disappointing part of the game. And you know, if I had to think of who played their best game or who was best for us, I'd be hard-pressed. I'd be very hard-pressed to pick a player that played their best game. Jack Billings probably was our best, along with Tim Membry. They were probably the best players on the day. But then after that, it is night and day, you know, the difference between our top two best players and the rest. There was such a middle tier of bullshit and just shit performances that even if we had have got the points, it would have been lucky, you know? It would have been lucky that we just got over the line. We got it level with 2 minutes to go, and then justice was served, we lost the game by a goal, and that makes it worse, you know, that we lost it by a goal. Fremantle deserved to win by more after that, you know, the second and third terms, because we stopped to an absolute halt. We did not move. There was no movement. And when St Kilda do not run, teams are going to get hold of us, because our most dangerous asset is our run, you know. And I'm not Jack Callow, I'm not sooking, mate. I've got a life. I'm talking about the club. If you don't want to watch this video, you can get fucked. I don't care. Just bail on the video. Yeah. Really disappointing, guys. Let's see what some of you guys are thinking. How many All-Australian Saints players were down today? Every single one of them was down today. Let's go with Cooper. Caulfield, Long, Patton, Battle, all shit. Get rid of Marsh and Kent. Marshall did nothing today. Embarrassing. Ryder needs to be in. Good call. Party at Noosa. I really hope not. It's all in their head. I think so. I don't think that there was any issue with fitness or fatigue, especially with the bus trip and a 9-day break. Sometimes having 9 days can throw a team, because you've got so much time to think about it. You almost lose a bit of that momentum. We came off a 5-day break against Carlton, and then you stretch it to a 9-day break again. We've got another 9 days to recover and get ready for Adelaide on Monday night, Monday week. So it's going to be a long time to think about this performance, but I hope they come in against Adelaide, a different team, because we know they've got it in them. And I think that's really the main reason as to why I'm so frustrated, and a lot of you guys are so frustrated, is because they've got it in them. They even showed it in this game. The first quarter was phenomenal. We could not have asked for a better start to a game. 44-8 at quarter time. Beautiful. We're all happy. After that, huge problem. So that's what we need to really rectify when we come up against Adelaide, because there's no doubt even if they get pumped today to West Coast, I don't know what the current score is, but if they have a win or if they get pumped, it doesn't matter, because anytime we play Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, we always struggle. So they're our bogey team. We haven't beaten them for at least 10 or 6 or 7 years, maybe more. So this is one of the teams that I said, we all probably agreed going into this season, we need to get over. And we couldn't do that against Fremantle. We couldn't do that against North. We need to do it against Adelaide when we play them. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. I know it was a bit of a rant, but it's hard to think logically when we've blown such a big lead and we looked so good. I let the emotions kind of take hold, but if I had to think about it in the coach's box, there's not much else to it. We literally stopped running. Fremantle played uncontested, they played fast, they turned the game on its head, and we mentally checked out. We really did get complacent, and I'd be hard-pressed to find a player that doesn't agree with that. If they think they didn't get complacent, then they've got bigger issues, because it's easier to fix complacency, because it's mental. You just stay in the game. You just keep doing what you're doing. They thought too much about the scoreboard, probably thinking about next week already, and thought the job was done, and Fremantle took hold of that. They kept fighting. They didn't worry about the scoreboard. We clearly looked at it too much at quarter time and thought, oh, well, great job, guys. Game's done. That was it. But we need to learn from this, and we need to move on and respond against Adelaide. But I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Really disappointing, this performance. The first quarter was great. Even when Max King kicks that goal in the second term, we pulled it back to a 29-point lead. And then from that point on, it was all Fremantle apart from the last 5-6 minutes when we kicked 3 goals, leveled the scores, and then they kick a goal at the end, win it in the last minute and a half, and that was it. So, if you don't agree with what I've been saying, then feel free to comment. Feel free to say whatever you want, apart from some idiots that think that I've got, no life and I'm just complaining. It's not true. We're all here because we're passionate about the club, and if you're not pissed off about this performance, then I don't think you care that much about football, and you don't care about this team. So this was a diabolical loss, and we need to come out against Adelaide and fix it. And if we don't, we're going to be here again talking about the same stuff. But we've got all the assets, we've got all the players that can do the job. We just need to work harder. We did not work hard enough after quarter time, and it cost us, and I hope it's another learning curve, because how many times can you do something like this until it just becomes ingrained in your psyche? You have a lead and you never think you're home. They need to learn to have that ruthlessness. They need to learn that, okay, 36 points is good, but 50 points is better. 60, 70, 80. There are teams out there that are just going to go out and hammer teams. Collingwood's one of them. Brisbane could have done it the other night. They got complacent, but generally they take hold of teams and are not happy with a small lead. They want to blow teams out of the water, and that's what I thought we had a chance to do today, was to get some percentage and also to dominate a team that we should have easily beaten, but we didn't. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. It's only Saturday, so I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope you stay safe. And the only thing we can do is just to get through next week, and then come back on Monday week, and take on Adelaide at Adelaide Oval and get the job done. But until then, take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you Thursday night when we preview the Adelaide game. And also keep an eye out for the Saints TV podcast. Marshy and Joycey and I are going to have a lot of words and a lot of conversations, probably heated conversations about today's game. So keep an eye out for that on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and I'll see you then. Anyway, thanks guys. Go Saints, I suppose.